way the left runs the show, you guys. You know this, right? It is never about addressing the substantive criticisms leveled against liberal policy. Ever. Not anymore. There was a time when we could do that, when we could debate over policy, and you could criticize the outcomes of a policy. You could present data, and the person who had supported the policy in the past had to come in and defend that policy substantively or admit you were right and change the policy. Not anymore. Now, it's just deny, deny, deny. It's been like this for at least 12 years, where the Republicans, the conservatives, actually more the conservatives, less Republicans, are always required to come up with some sort of data-based, source-cited critique, expansive critique that the media refuses to listen to of liberal policy. So we're supposed to do that just like the CEO did, the Center for Equal Opportunities did with the University of Wisconsin admissions policy. Require us to generate that data beyond the margin of error and with statistical significance. And then when we do that, we're shouted down. And the left is never required to defend itself substantively on its own policy failures, but it's also never required to do the same when they are criticizing Republican policy. I'll give you, I mean, the University of Wisconsin example is wonderful. It's a wonderful local example of that. The jobs bill is another great national example of that. Barack Obama rolls out this bogusly named jobs bill, $437 billion, 90% of which is going to be, quote, paid for by tax increases on small businesses. By the way, hitting Wisconsinites particularly hard because we have a much higher tax burden in the state of Wisconsin than a lot of other states do. Thank you, Jim Sensenbrenner, for churning out those numbers yesterday. He says, no, it's going to be great. Taxing small businesses is going to make small businesses create jobs. Taking money out of the Social Security system and borrowing money to replace in the Social Security system and generating tax revenue to pay for the additional cost of borrowing to those small businesses is exactly what small businesses need to create jobs. Incentivizing unemployment is exactly what unemployed people need in order to want to be enticed back into the workplace. Rolling back on oil and natural gas tax subsidies is exactly what we need to do. Move those subsidies into green energy so we can create green jobs. Exactly what we need to do. Fail, 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 fail on all accounts. All right, so our dutiful Republicans trot out their data. DeRoy Murdoch did a wonderful piece trotting out the data, comparing the differences in Obamanomics to Reaganomics to show that Obamanomics is not just accidentally a failure, but because of the policies in the Obama administration, this economy is worse off than it need to be. We trot out all our studies. Jim Sensenbrenner does and works out the numbers for Wisconsin. And what does the Wisconsin State Journal put up as a headline? Barack Obama's jobs plan will provide 20,000 new jobs saved or created here in the state of Wisconsin. It's like, why'd you bother?